Site plan review of a proposed hotel on Middlesettlement Road, New Hartford, New York. Bob?
Yes. Yep. Do you have drawings up there?
I have some over there, but if you have one,
This is the same as
Okay.
everything that
Okay.
you have. I just printed one out just in case.
I think it's 2 weeks or something, I always look for somebody to bring their own.
Same, it's the same as
Yeah.
that. Yep, just bigger, so
A little
it's,
bigger print.
yeah, it's
Oh, good.
cumbersome but readable.
What's the date on this one?
The revision date is 8/28/14. The date on it's 8/20/14.
Thank you.
As I mentioned, I'm Bob Ellison, I'm with Sangrilli Engineering. I'm representing New Hartford Lodging Group on the proposal. They're proposing a 4-story, 98-room town place suites hotel on the piece of land off Middlesettlement Road that's directly adjacent to where the senior housing is going up right now. So 4-story, 98 rooms. We have 103 parking spaces. I know one of the concerns for the site is stormwater in the area, so that when we designed this, we designed after speaking with the town engineer, we designed the site so that the post-development stormwater that leaves the site is 75% of the pre-development stormwater, so we're trying to reduce above and beyond the DEC standards to alleviate stormwater concerns. And the other thing that they requested that we did is that in all of the stormwater calculations, we included all the run-on that comes from portions of the surrounding site that aren't part of this site. So we made no attempt to divert any stormwater that wasn't generated on this site around the site. Anything that was going towards the site now is just going to continue it's going to go through the site, and that was all accounted for in the design. The landscape area worked out to be 21%, what we were able to come up with. I know that the requirement in this district is 20%, so we were able to meet that. It meets the setbacks and everything else, the building height meets the zoning law. The front yard was taken to be Middlesettlement Road, just, it's a strange lot that doesn't actually, the property isn't actually on Middlesettlement Road, but we took Middlesettlement Road to be the front yard. All of the parking lot lighting meets the dark sky requirements. I know that was yep. I know that's a requirement of the zoning ordinance. Are there any questions? I don't know if this is the first time everybody's seeing this, or if anybody's had a chance to review this. If there's any questions, I can entertain them.
I have a question.
Sure.
Sewer, you're gonna have a sewer pump?
We're gonna have to, yes.
You're gonna have a separate pump house?
We've got a lift station that's on the south of the building, and it's gonna pump up to to the main on Middlesettlement Road.
So it's gonna be your pump,
Yes,
not gonna be the town's pump?
absolutely not.
Never be the town's pump?
Never be the town's.
Backup power for that?
Something that could be discussed. It's got some storage in it. It doesn't have long-term storage in it, so it's gonna either have to have backup power or provisions for them to get backup power to it quickly if needed.
The parking lot is what kind of surface?
Pavement, bituminous pavement. Everything's surrounded by concrete curbs.
Okay, this is the area that we've had people really complain about before.
Well, I would just remind you that this is in the GIS. Offsite seeker is already addressed there, right? Or is this area in the GIS?
I don't know.
We better check. I think it is. And if it is, offsite seeker's already been addressed. And of course, if we grant preliminary approval, it's going out to all the concerned agencies.
Yeah, well,
So
Gotta have a coordinated review.
We're gonna get the
Well, 'cause
feedback
that's that
on that.
area.
Oh, I know.
we've had nothing but people that, so,
Chris,
nothing. He's already pieced it down.
Do you think it is in the GIS?
I do think it is.
Do you?
In fact,
I
I would
don't
bet
know.
it is. How you doing?
Good.
A question came up about the stormwater management on this.
Yeah,
Have you had a chance to look at what they're proposing
we have.
and your opinion?
I have a comment letter that I sent back to him today, and I have copies for everyone, if you want me to hand that out.
Chris, is this location the GIS area?
No, I'm not sure. I think it would be, because it's right behind,
We went all the way across the
yeah,
list.
I mean, that's right behind Consumer Square there, so I'd be surprised if it wasn't.
That is fine.
Huh?
That woke you up.
You can't blame me.
No, it's a beggar fireman.
Oh, that's my farm.
Yeah,
Spend
that's
that
that
money
one too.
down.
Right, yeah, I remember that.
So what I included is I used the stormwater SWIP checklist that the DEC provides. So the comment letters are in line with the checklist. So anything on the checklist that has a check next to it is something that still needs to be provided for a whole SWIP. Let me say that regarding the quantities, the quality, and the calculations that he's provided, everything looks great. He's done, when we met with him, I don't know, what's it, 6 months ago now, we said, you know, we want to try to go 20% reduction in offsite stormwater. We want to not divert any stormwater that comes onto the site around so that it's a problem down further. We want to take care of it right there. He's done all that. A lot of what he needs to provide is just some maps, there's just some descriptions, there's the NOI, there's a lot of paperwork that goes with the SWIP that's not provided with this, so we call it a complete SWIP. We can't at this point. As far as the reductions and what he's proposing, looks pretty good.
Well, this complete SWIP, is that something necessary on a preliminary review?
No, we just don't want to sign off on a SWIP acceptance form until we get that stuff done. Yeah.
So you can grant preliminary subject to that.
Correct. If the calculations weren't there, I would say no, but since everything looks to be the way we asked them at the initial meeting, I'd say we're okay.
And I know that the full SWIP needs to be provided. Honestly, we can't provide a final NOI for submission until the project's reviewed and approved anyways. So, you know, we know that there will be a SWIP that will be provided for review before any NOI is submitted to the DEC.
That's why I was trying to line that up, the process, so it really comes at the end of the process as far as that final.
What to do with that final NOI, we can't, yeah, there's nothing can be done. One of the questions on the NOI form is, what is the date that the project was approved by the planning board? So nothing can move without the planning board.
Do you have something, Liz? Anything else from your end, Chris?
No, I think stormwater, as far as stormwater is concerned, they did a pretty good job reaching out to us initially and following up with really what we asked them to go above and beyond, so.
Joe, as a codes enforcement officer, makes the determination that this application is complete for preliminary approval, or it won't be in front of us. So everything we're looking at meets town code. Doesn't mean that they get an approval, that's the next step. But he is charged with making that determination. I just want to remind everybody. it's a completed application as far as a preliminary stage is concerned.
From a planning standpoint, and I'll go back to the standard concern of nature and character of the neighborhood. The elevation drawings, can we request or ask for a view shed analysis, to take a look at visually what we expect for this four-story building and the impacts in this area?
I don't know, because I don't know the zone. This is this is,
Commercial.
Well, it's
This
permitted,
is-
we asked about the four-story in the meeting, it is permitted.
It is permitted, but
But I think you can ask for it.
Because I think that would go a long way in giving an opportunity to see what the facility would be like from the surrounding neighborhoods and actually going up and down that Middlesettlement Road. Because we have a senior residential center, there are those other areas that are residential in that area, and we're putting in a four-story no-fuss commercial. So view shed analysis may be.
well, do we have, just for argument's sake, do we have the authority to supersede the zoning law and say?
Well, I think you
can't
can
go before?
request it, I think it's a reasonable request, and it's up whether or not the developer is gonna comply.
Yeah, I understand that, Herb, but the zoning permits, are they entitled to build a four-story?
They are.
So,
It's a permitted
Use.
height structure.
so you can see it, but you can't stop it.
Right.
Or we could ask for mitigation and landscaping
Right.
plans. Maybe we get to see it beforehand.
You can always ask them to mitigate it in some, it's permitted, but as a planning board, you have the authority to request buffering or landscaping or whatever. Berm,
We do have landscaping
And
around
an issue with
two
lighting,
of the
right?
perimeters. Yeah, lighting, all the parking lot lighting, it does meet the zoning ordinance, it is dark sky compliant.
We checked
All the-
it.
All the lighting is down, not up.
So what is it you want to do this?
View shed, primarily what it would look like from the various angles, really, in the surrounding area, because of that transition zone. Once we get that, we can see, when we're making a determination of the final, if any additional vegetation is needed or anything we can do to basically buffer the surrounding neighborhoods.
Joe, I mean, from my understanding, a view shed analysis is where it's visible from. I think what we want to see is our perspective drawings from both Middlesettlement Road perhaps, and perhaps for the housing development behind it, to pick some vantage points instead of a view shed, because like I said, when I prepare a view shed analysis, it's where that's visible from, and it doesn't speak to the quality, just that it is visible. So if the concern is how it's going to impact the residential areas, then perhaps a few perspective views or simulation from those areas.
Whatever we want to call it, as long as you can get a view so the neighbors have.
I realize we're all close to the town line, and that's all residential, golf course. And I have a concern about the water. And we've been through this every time somebody's wanted to know.
The law will not permit the last one in to bear the price for everybody else.
I know.
They win in Article 78 in about 5 seconds on that. So they've tried to address that with what they're doing with the
I appreciate
stormwater
We
management.
did.
And once we find out and confirm that this is in the GIS, that the cumulative impacts are addressed according to that. And that's what we're about. In any event, it's gonna go out to all the agencies, and we're gonna get a bunch of comments back on sewage and that issue about what they're gonna do with this pump. I'm sure somebody's gonna take a look at that.
Well, I would hope the transportation too from the county, because it's a county road, right? We don't really know.
They're gonna get it.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, it talks a little bit about the trips during peak time, but with other things that have been happening up there.
Well, I'll make the motion for preliminary approval. And all the other words that go with it.
Is there a second on that?
Did you declare
I'll
lead
second.
agency?
No, you're gonna approve it and then declare.
No, approval first.
Was that a second, Bill?
Yes.
Do we have any further discussion? And the preliminary approval.
Preliminary approval, pending review by other agencies and.
We're gonna get to that part.
That's,
That's the law, but we're gonna get there.
So it comes back again.
Of course.
mhm.
After, if this motion passes, we're gonna declare the planning board lead agency for an review out, and then it's in the process for final review. How long that process takes depends on what we get back and what the engineers need and we need. Anything else on the preliminary approval? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Is there a motion to declare the planning board lead agency for coordinated review under secret?
So
Yes.
moved.
Second.
Who's second, Brian?
Any discussion regarding that motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Getting back to what Julius was talking about, is there a desire to ask the developer to provide us with whatever you want to call it, Liz? What do we call it?
Well, it's more perspective views or is view simulation instead of a view shed.
That.
Well, it's almost like we saw it with
The tower.
the towers. We saw it from every angle, the balloons, from every possible vantage point. I don't think that's what we're asking
No.
here,
We
but it's
only-
from
Yeah, we
the
just-
main,
Preliminary.
yeah.
You wanna look at it.
There are the two areas, the residential side and what was the other one?
Senior housing.
The senior housing.
How far will you be from Sand
We're 25 feet from the property line, which is
Next door.
it's next door, that is the zoning requirement.
Right, but I mean, like, where's their window? Is it 25 feet or
well,
is there a roadway in between?
There are buildings right here, I believe there's parking lot
Okay.
that separates, I think it's parking lot, a detention basin on their property. We've got
Setback for 25.
setback for 25 feet. We've also planted landscaping as a screen. Obviously, landscaping as a screen is not going to screen somebody on the upper floor of that building from the upper floor of this building. But we do have landscaping along that side.
So the senior citizens can look into the, on the upper floor.
Right.
This may not be, this isn't a question from him, but correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't there some kind of discussion about a walking pathway up through that area? Maybe, no?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought there was when it came to the senior center, which would have nothing to do with your project, but.
Well, getting back to what Julius is talking about and Liz, is the board in favor of that or not in favor of that?
Yes.
Yes, please.
It's 2 yeses. That's 3 yeses. I don't either.
I'll abstain. There's just 3-2.
Is that something you could provide us? Some kind of a rendering on, from the residential side and what's the other side?
Senior center.
Just the senior center.
Really residential area, that's what we adjacent roads.
I mean, do we want it from the road or
Not Middlesettlement.
okay,
We're talking about.
From-
We're correct.
up that way? All right, because there is vacant land through the National Grid's easements where all their transmission lines are running up here, so we're not right on the residential property either.
You're almost behind the insurance agency.
Yes, that building is,
Right.
it's up here.
Yeah, I went really just.
Yep. And the buildings are approximately 150 feet apart, where this building's proposed.
A perspective view similar to what we do for this, what we've done for the cell tower should be extremely.
just think it's maybe 3. So you get a perspective from the senior housing. You get a perspective from either 840 or.
Residential.
Well, the senior housing is 3 stories, from probably the second story.
I mean, it's pretty similar. It's
Yeah.
not like this is dissimilar with the seniors.
Yes,
I can understand this perhaps on the residential
Yeah.
end, but it's a permitted use.
Yes.
Yep.
So if it's about screening we're talking about, great, but I think if we could get the residential end of it, I'd go along with that, but I think the rest of it is just not
I'm
necessary.
just looking for the residential.
So on this side of the,
Okay. Is there any way that I can see what was provided for the
Sure.
cell towers, so I just know exactly what
Yeah.
you're looking for?
Does this prevent me from sending out the secret?
well, no,
Towns are gonna do it.
No, it's not, I don't think that that's what we need, but, I mean, if you want to see what it looks like, you need a perspective rendering from a vantage point on the affordable senior housing site is what you need.
Well, I was thinking more from the people on Liberty.
You need a layover,
But the
overlay.
people on Liberty are through the empty lot and over there, right on,
I think that way.
Well, there's Middlesettlement.
yeah, which they only see.
Okay.
Actually, this is down from and almost behind the.
See, the
But
only,
that's the confusion
The
right
only-
there. None of us can visualize mentally exactly.
yeah, personally, the only concern.
Yeah, I mean, the building, to look at the bigger plan, actually, let me get this one, it's not
Well, I went over and looked, and I would assume it's up that road.
Yeah.
Correct.
See the impact.
No, I
Right.
don't.
So
There's a
that,
lot of green
right, the
space. and
insurance building is right
transition
here, this is proposed,
And it
here.
sits
The senior housing
perpendicular
is
to,
behind it.
you're only gonna look at the end.
People in Whitestown.
Yeah, no, that's what I don't.
Right,
Are
they're-
looking at, yeah.
they'd be looking at the,
You're looking at the end of it,
Yeah,
end of the
it's-
building, it doesn't really have that,
I don't,
it's not
Yeah, I
like the
don't-
big,
I don't.
and it's quite a ways away from there, isn't it? From Liberty.
I'm not sure how far up it is, but it's a lot further than the senior
Right.
housing. It might even be almost as far as where Middlesettlement Road
And
is,
it's-
that I'm not.
The hotel is similar in scale to what's there for the senior housing. My only concern, and it's a minor one, is for the residents that are facing it from the senior housing apartments, if there's any buffering that we need to do. So that is my only concern, because I think it's within character of what's already, on the adjacent
It's
site.
gonna
I
be
don't
one more
have,
story.
it's gonna be one more story, but it's, like I said, the
And they're
only.
showing, they have a planning plan.
Yeah.
It shows,
840.
Yes, but their elevation
Yeah,
plan
right.
doesn't show, their elevation plan doesn't show where the buffering would be looking like from off-site. It's just strictly an architectural elevation. So that's what I'm saying, you don't see the planting
Yeah, I
plan
agree
in
on that.
elevation. So I mean, if they provided the planting plan in elevation, with the building elevation, that would be acceptable to me.
So really just adding
how high it's
plantings.
gonna be.
Okay,
Well, that's my, I
Well,
don't know what the rest of you
I
feel.
think that's my concern, that the people that are, the other people that are residences around there
Right, the screen.
have a, yeah. And I would think that they would be public for discussion.
I mean, honestly, we can show that, but honestly,
You don't buy
there's
it.
no way that we can
You're not gonna
completely
screen
screen
a
a
don't buy it.
four-story building
building.
that's in character with a building that's
Right.
right next door to it. I really am having a
Right,
hard
Bill?
time with this
That's
one
an
discussion.
update, right?
Happens all the time.
Somebody wants to put forth a motion so we can get out of here, please do.
I move that we request of the developer the elevation showing the planting plan
Okay.
from the affordable family housing.
And I second it.
Any further discussion on this issue?
Add color, please, so we see the color for everything.
On the elevations?
Yes, please,
Okay.
color elevation.
All those in favor?
All right.
All those opposed?
I,
I probably am too. You can put that as a problem. No, I think they've shown that has to be done, but that's what we have a review process for. Anything further? We're adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
We have more of those